Hello, this is Dr. Dennis Kimbro, and welcome to the Global Classroom. Regarding overcoming all the obstacles and pitfalls associated with launching a business, Melody Hobson is spot on when she pointed out, and I quote, "It's during the critical moments of failure that eventually become the stepping stones of success." Well, truer words have never been spoken, and who would know better than Melody Hobson? As the co-CEO of Chicago-based Aerial Investments and chairwoman of Starbucks and DreamWorks Animation, and let us not forget, she's the first black woman to be chair of the Economic Club of Chicago. What am I saying? I'm saying that when Melody Hobson speaks, I listen. Hobson, who I personally met nearly 15 years ago, is an American success story. She was raised by a single mother in a public housing unit where the odds were stacked against her. But less than 2 decades later, she emerged as one of the nation's most recognized and respected business and financial voices. But today's case message is not about Melody Hobson and all that she has endured and accomplished. No, it's only about her words of wisdom. Today's case study focuses on the one individual who took Hobson's advice to heart and has scaled her business into a $100 million behemoth. When Pinky Cole spoke to my class in 2019, she was 31 years old, owned a food truck, and she was in the early stages of building a vegan empire that would soon become a cultural phenomenon. Yes, she was a millionaire, but she was holding on to a novel startup for dear life. Cole's personal story is one of hardships. Far from an overnight success, she's the daughter of a hard-working single mother and a father who remained close in spite of his 22-year incarceration. After graduating from college, she faced few prospects other than Teach for America, where she barely lasted 1 week. But what she did have was a hustler's work ethic and the ability to attract enthusiastic investment, which allowed her to build and scale her business. Pinky Cole launched Slutty Vegan in 2018 by selling burgers via Instagram from her Atlanta apartment before transitioning to a food truck and then a shared kitchen. 2 years later, in the teeth of a global pandemic, Cole cut the ribbon on her second and third locations in Atlanta. And as the world seemed to be falling apart, Slutty Vegan brand was experiencing powerful growth, drawing daily celebrity sightings and massive crowds from people all over the world. The Slutty Vegan brand has brought down the house in Brooklyn, New York, Harlem, Birmingham, Alabama, Los Angeles, and Dallas, Texas. And though you may have heard of it, or eaten it, or wanted to eat it, and if you haven't, well, your chance to do so has just increased because Cole is scheduled to open a new Slutty Vegan every month this year in a different city. And now Pinky Cole has set her sights on Nashville and Florida, and listen to this, Concourse B at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the busiest airport in the world, which serves more than 100 million passengers each year. Wow. How did she do it? Well, that's the purpose of today's case study, what I entitled, The 4 Tips Pinky Cole Used to Scale Her Business. We all know that reaching the 1 million mark in revenue remains a challenge for any startup, let alone for women and entrepreneurs of color. Let's face it, women must work 10 times harder to gain access to capital while developing key relationships. And all too often, as their businesses slowly inch along, the fear of failure and those dreaded self-limiting beliefs will undoubtedly creep in. Well, when Pinky Cole was faced with those moments, she implemented tip number 1. She displayed resilience by leaning on her creativity. Yes, succeeding in business requires an airtight strategic plan, but it also requires adaptability and resilience. It's about building a business that's not only survives challenges, but thrives in spite of them. A fundamental quality that makes Pinky Cole so magical is her ability to push through and rise above those circumstances that most business owners would rather hide from or forget. And when she spoke to my students in my class, she shared some of those lowest points in her life. She urged my students to fight for their dreams, though they may seem impossible. You see, Cole grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, surrounded by so many poor and forgotten minorities. But she was driven to show the world that those people living in those zip codes are full of promise and million-dollar ideas. And as she has stated on more than one occasion, what separates me from those who quit is that I keep going. Tip number 2, be intentional. Cole is driven to make Slutty Vegan the new McDonald's, only bigger and better. Her exact words, and I quote, "I want to scale this business and franchise it so that everyone can be given the opportunity, whether vegan or not, to say that they enjoyed a good cheeseburger that won't contribute to diabetes, cancer, or any other life-threatening disease that afflicts our community." Well said, Pinky. Tip number 3, and listen to me, entrepreneurs, know your numbers. You see, there's a science to scaling. Take a look at what you spend versus what you earn. What needs to be tweaked? What drives the bottom line? Sometimes those small, tiny adjustments in your strategy or spending can lead to big improvements in your profit margins. Pinky Cole has a background in television production, which gives her marketing campaign the confidence to push the envelope. Or as she stated, and I quote, "I understand why my customers buy and enjoy my product. They want tasty and they want healthy. They also want something that's bold, in your face, fun, and memorable. It was time for me to reframe the need for veganism. I decided to peel back the layer and educate my customers about veganism in a way that they'd never seen or heard before. I added fun into the cooking, the merchandise, and the packaging, and before I knew it, I created a movement." End of quote. And last but not least, students, tip number 4, find your why. The same day that Pinky Cole was born, her father was sentenced to life in prison for smuggling, possession, and distribution of cocaine. Cole's mother became one of the countless black women who were forced to raise their children alone. As Cole matured and came to understand what her mother endured and sacrificed, she began to truly understand the magnitude of her mother's strength and vowed to permanently find a way to improve her family's financial future. Pinky Cole said her greatest reward in life is knowing that she is making her parents proud, specifically her mother. And I quote, "My mother had so many big dreams," she said. "I want to give her the life that she always desired." Pinky Cole's story is compelling and instructive. So many entrepreneurs can explain what they do and how they do it, but clearly can articulate what they do and why they do it. Why is the crucial factor that inspired Pinky Cole to build a $100 million empire, as well as impacting and uplifting the lives around her. Well, students, the journey to 7-figure success is not without challenges, but with resilience, creativity, intentionality, and knowing your why, you can navigate any obstacle with grace and confidence and turn them into opportunities for growth. Your dream business is within reach, so start scaling it today. Until next time, this is Dr. Dennis Kimbro in the Global Classroom, and don't you ever forget, sometimes the wealth choice might be your best choice. God bless.